Hello. Happy, like being attacked by things here today. Happy Thursday. Welcome to week 20 design reveal. I'm Paula from Desert Cat Creations, and today we are going to make an ornament. We are going to use memory wire. We are going to use stretch cord, which is an interesting combination, but I think you'll see how this goes. We have to use seed beads, and we have to use at least 7 components, and we have to make it themed by a tiki bar. So, hey Janelda, thanks for joining me. Sorry I'm running a little late, but you're probably all used to that. So, anyways, we are going to make that ornament today. Other announcements, I know it's a holiday weekend, but we'll be on Sunday at our normal time. And I think we are gonna put the new cards in this weekend. So those of you who haven't been paying attention, I'll put a reminder up, but our new Desert Southwest bundle is available. You can buy each thing individually, or you can buy the complete bundle. So what's in the bundle? We have a expansion deck, which means it's not a full deck, but this particular deck does have 3 different kinds of cards, so you could use it by itself if you wanted to. It's Southwest themed, so some of the projects, I mean, you guys may think some of them are related, some of them aren't. It's just kind of things that made me think of Southwest things. The used cards are things that are used typically by, you know, like Native American jewelers, or in the kinds of things that I have the make cards for. And then all of the challenge cards are themed for things that are based on our culture or our natural beauty, all that stuff in the Desert Southwest. So that's what the deck of cards is. If you just want the deck of cards, it's $16. We also have a metal pack, which is $12. This is an assortment of charms, beads, and there's a couple buttons in here for your Southwest themed projects. Those are lead-free, nickel-free, according to people I bought them from. And we have our Desert Blooms mix. This is a custom mix of crystals from Beadoria. There's also a couple metal beads in there, but the colors are based on cactus blooms. So you guys have seen a couple, hopefully you've seen a couple of the videos I posted with all the beautiful springtime cactus blooms around here. So hopefully you'll find that those colors are represented in this mix. And I'm excited that we're going to start playing with that and incorporating that in there. So again, you can buy each of those separately. The bead mixes are $12, the cards are $16. If you buy any 2, you get $2 off. If you buy all 3, you get $5 off. So that's the bundle price. To order, you can comment on any of the videos. You can send me a message at Desert Cat Creations and let me know that you're interested in the in purchasing, and I will send you an invoice. The only thing I need from you is an email. If you're new to us and haven't bought from us before, you may want to get the deck 1 card, deck 1 if you haven't done that. That's the base deck that all the expansion cards work with. So, but anyways, I'm happy to work with you, provide you more information if you have any questions. So let's go ahead and get started on our project. That's weird. There we go. All right, it's being touchy today. There we go. Sorry about that. I don't know why my camera's being so touchy, but anyways. So, here we go. Just a reminder of what we have here. So, we're going to make an ornament. That's always fun. Those of you not familiar with our cards, the ornament is one of the cards in our non-jewelry and findings deck. We are going to use stretch cord in our design. That's in our base deck. So I've got some stretch cord here. I'm going to use the Bead Elasticity today, some of the thicker cord, and you'll see why later. We are going to use memory wire, so I've got some memory wire here, and we're going to use seed beads. Now I have a couple different things here. I have just some basic seed beads, some size 10, but I also am planning to use some bugle beads. So you know, you buy them in the seed bead collection. I wasn't sure if people considered bugles in and of themselves. I've got them in 2 different colors here as seed beads, but just in case, I'm going to add some regular seed beads. So, and we're going to use at least 7 different components. Now, remember, a component really is everything. So if you use 7 different beads, you've hit it. We're using memory wire, elastic wire. We're going to use some 26 gauge wire to do some wire wrapping on our ornament here. Anyways, we'll make our 7 components. And then I decided to draw an extra challenge card this week because just to narrow down what I was looking for in my stash, it gave me a theme. So we're working on the tiki bar, which is why I'm using these bugle beads. You'll see why. And I'm also going to incorporate some letter beads. So these are letter beads from Edoria, and you'll see as we go forth what we're spelling out. I also have a few like fish beads, and just in case I am inspired to use those. Right now I'm not sure I'm going to, but we'll see. So anyways, that's how what we're gonna make today. Now remember, if you're playing at home, you can draw as many or as few cards as you want. If you just, you know, if you have a big collection and you just want to know what to make, draw a make card. Or you already know you want to make a pair of earrings, but you don't know what you want to use in it, just draw some use cards. And it'll narrow it down and help you focus on something. And sometimes if you draw multiple things, you'll get an interesting combination of things like we're working with here today. All right, so I am going to start with pulling out the memory wire. And you know what? I have a design in my head. We'll see how that goes today. Okay, so sometimes that's good, sometimes it's not. So remember, if you're working with memory wire, you do need memory wire cutters. They will ruin your regular cutters. So I'm going to just cut, I'm going to take a loop of memory wire and then go past it so it overlaps about a 1/2 inch to 1 inch. And we're going to cut that off. All right, let's move those out of the way. So I've got, you know, 1 string and one loop, and it's overlaps a little bit. The reason I want the overlap is because I am going to put some loops at the end here. So I think I'm going to use my 6 size looper, and I'm going to pick like the larger, the middle one, I think. So remember to place your wire right in the middle, and then you want to turn your wrist and push the wire in the direction that you want this loop to be, okay? And generally with memory wire, you're folding it back towards the wire. So that's kind of a big loop, but that's okay. And then I'm going to put the same size loop going the other direction. on the other side. You do have to be fairly firm with the memory wire. It's you know, it's very stiff on purpose so that it keeps its shape. Hence the memory part, right? So, but sometimes you do have to. I use, you know, just a regular pair of pliers to fold this in a little more. And then I want these like facing the top of the circle. So I'm basically, you know, forming a loop here, right? With 2 circles at the top. Now you could make these loops smaller. I just made them big just because it's an ornament, not a piece of jewelry. And I'm going to take a small piece, and I'm using copper only because of the color of the beads I'm using. Otherwise I would use silver, and I'm just going to cut a little bit off from that so that I can just kind of I'm going to wrap these ends together. Which I have to hold them while I wrap this because otherwise it's slipping. All right, I need a third hand here, guys. Now, not exactly doing what I want it to do. But we'll I'm going to force the wires through, see if I can get it to hold there. You know, like I said, I'm taking it past what its normal tension is, which is why it's fighting with me. So since I made such a big loops, I probably should have cut a little longer wire, but it's all right. And then I'm just going to continue wrapping this wire and see if I can get it to stay there. All right. It didn't have to be exact, but because we can adjust that as we go along. So, all right, I don't need my looper anymore. So let me get some beads out. All right. Hopefully this won't take tremendously long. So if you're not familiar with bugle beads, they're long, basically a really long tube seed bead, right? And I'm using them in 2 different colors here. So, and the reason I picked bugle beads, these ones are kind of dirty. I bought these at a Bead Stash sale. And then I'm just gonna put some beads out here. So, hey Lorraine, thanks for joining us. We are making our ornament today. And we're gonna do some bead weaving with some bugle beads and like I said, I kind of envisioned this in my head, but we'll see where it goes. So I'm just going to pull a long piece of this 26 gauge wire, and chances are I'm going to have to, you know, do more than one. But like I said, so I'm using these long beads to pay homage to my tiki bar, right? So they are going to represent the, you know, the hutch grass hutch you see on the sides or the top of your tiki bar, right? Hopefully everybody's seen pictures of a tiki bar. You know, I've been having fun with the beachy designs that we've been doing since last summer, but I'm looking forward to doing some Southwest themed things. It's gonna be fun. Oh, and Janelda, I saw your garden stake. Very nice. And Lorraine, your little friendship bracelet was a nice design. I'm looking forward to drawing that card again so I can make some more. All right, so I'm just gonna, I'm filling this in. What I'm doing is alternating bugle beads and seed beads just to add a little color, and I am going to be filling this whole thing in, so hopefully it doesn't get too boring. So I hope you guys are all staying safe in all that weather. It looks like, Lorraine, that you guys are getting a nor'easter or something up there. That's crazy. I always thought nor'easters were sort of a winter storm, but I guess it's all in what direction it comes from, right? And I know the South has had a lot of crazy weather. Hopefully everybody's staying safe. We are starting to hit our summer temperatures. Today is the warmest day of the year so far. Not quite 100 here at my house, but it will hit 100 at the airport today, they think. So it's just the beginning, though. You know, that's what we do here in Arizona. But the sad thing is I can't get it. It's harder for me to go out and check on the blooms. So lots of rain and wind, yeah. You know what, that last one's gonna just mess me up. I'm going to take that off. All right, so my idea is that I am going to just, like I said, fill this in, and then we'll see how it goes. But I think I'm going to alternate colors here just to give it a little more variety. And like I said, you know, this design is all what I was designing in my head, so hopefully it looks good. I did not play with it. Sometimes I will, you know, do some things in advance to make sure that it works, but So, any of you have any big plans for Memorial Day? Or is it going to be rainy? All right, so like I said, what I'm literally doing is, I should have apparently done some of this ahead of time because this is going to take a while. Maybe I don't have to fill it all the way in. Staying home and off the street. Yeah, it's I think Memorial Day is a real, you live near the beach, so around here it's not a big deal, although, you know, school's out, so I guess people start, the pool's open just like everywhere else, which, like I said, I always find it interesting that the pools don't open until Memorial Day around here, because it does get warm, but I guess you don't have anybody to be in them or play as lifeguards, so. Well, I hope you have some decent weather too, Lorraine. Not sure, watching the morning news, that it looks promising, but let's see if I can speed this up a bit. Yeah, Lorraine, when I lived in Virginia, that was the same there too, because you have snow days, but here we don't have snow days, and they actually start before Labor Day, so they get out early here. I have to say, these bugle beads are really inconsistent in sizes. I'm surprised, because they were from Fire Mountain at one point. All right. All right, so what I'm doing, which I'm not doing very speedily, is I'm just trying to make some vertical strands with these bugles. It's so hot here. It's actually been really cool this year, cooler than normal. But, you know, like I tell people, it's sort of like everywhere else, you know, you go out in the summer and you hibernate in the winter. Here you hibernate in the summer, just do stuff early in the morning or late in the evening in the summertime. But in the winter, we can be out almost all the time because it doesn't get real cold. I mean, we do have winter. Occasionally we can get snow, but we didn't get any this year. We need some water, and we're supposed to have a big monsoon season, so yeah, I'll bet, you know, being where you guys are, and you do get a lot of humidity there, but you know, you used to live here. We get humidity here too, even though most people think we don't, but monsoon season will be upon us soon, and then it is not a dry heat like people like to joke, right? I'm surprised to hear you could use rain. I would have assumed that you guys would have gotten some of those storms that had been going through. All right, so this is moving much slower than I anticipated. I may just not do it all the way across. Maybe we'll just do some stuff down the middle, and then we'll use our letter beads. So this looks on the map like the southeast Texas is getting rain, but it doesn't mean everybody's getting it, right? All right, I picked a very slow design today. This is not a speedy design. Anybody going anywhere fun this summer? Oops. Didn't need all that. All right, what do I want to do here? I think I'm going to wrap a couple, oops. And when you run your wire through your beads, they go flying, don't they? Northeast Kingdom in Vermont. Never heard of that. I am just going to pull some I'm going to wrap back towards the middle here, and then we're going to do a few rows on the other side. So that I have a section in the middle here. Like I said, I can always add more. We'll work on pulling that later. So I scrunched it. We'll see how that goes here. So, I have relatives in Rhode Island that used to always go to Vermont. They have a house, they had a summer house in Vermont. They would go up there and just hang out away from the hustle and bustle of the big cities, you know. So It was pretty up there. We visited a few years back. Yeah, Lorraine, you'll have to share some pictures. That would be nice to see. All right, I promise we're going to get through this here. So. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 2, 3. It's just, I didn't really think this through as far as how many rows it would take. I should have used bigger beads. Bear with me here. All right. All right, 1. I guess every time you use seed beads, it is a bit of a small, makes for small work and slow work for me at least. So how was your show in Ohio, Janelda? I really did not think this through, did I? Should have pre-done some of this. Not as speedy as like Kay when she does wire wrapping. Although I did have kind of a big loop here, so I guess that that matters. So. Yeah, I guess having outdoor shows is kind of tough. Especially if the weather is not cooperating, so. We get so much wind around here, I would be hesitant to do an outdoor show, although sometimes you get lucky. It's all right, guys, we are making progress here, but it's not, I may have to go back and fill the rest in. We'll see. We'll keep going, and we'll see what we make it. Don't know if there's other videos this afternoon for people. my husband and I are actually going to go get an early dinner somewhere, fight the heat. So that's my afternoon. Yesterday we did get in the pool, so that was nice. The overnight temperatures are staying warm enough, so. All right, I think this evens out my design here as far as having the same amount on both sides. So let me we'll see if we can get the other stuff on here. I'm just gonna wrap that, try to tighten it up a little bit. So my original idea was that this would go, that I would fill in the whole thing, which, like I said, I may still go back and fill in some more, but just to keep things moving, what I thought I would do now is we are going to add some letters. So what I wanted to spell out was the tiki bar is open. There's a song. It's a Buffett song. That's Jimmy Buffett's song. So, where do I go to get away? Yeah, it just depends. And we had a nice yeah, well, we're going to happy hour today. A nice time in Northern California, you know, a few weeks ago. This summer we're going to visit some friends that live in LA, so I don't know how much of a getaway that's going to be because of the traffic. So what do you guys think? So I'm going to spell out these words. So I thought I had a couple options. One would be to put them, you know, around the outside, or I can try to go across. I'm thinking around the outside is probably easier. And if I do that, I can still go back and fill in the rest later, right? So, all right, so I'm going to pull off some more wire. And I'm going to just wrap some around partway down here. Then let's see, let's see how this works. The inside, yeah, I was trying to go for either, I guess with the seed beads, yeah, they do look a little bit more like bamboo than I was trying to go in for that grass look, but bamboo works for me too, huh? We are just winging this today. So. Yeah, I think if I had just used the bugle beads and not the seed beads, then it would look less like bamboo and more like grass. I wanted to sort of de-angle them and have them kind of floppy, but I couldn't figure out an easy way to do that. All right, see how this goes. Bamboo works for a tiki bar, right? But we'll take that across the top. I have to go back and add some wrapping around the bare parts of the memory wire when we're done, but all right, now I'm going to just wrap that down. Now, I'm pulling fairly hard on this wire just because it's getting kinked and stuff. You do have to be careful because I was doing some wire wrapping the other day and I actually pulled so hard I broke my wire because it had been kinked, and then my project went flying, and I still have not located my project. So I'm gonna go ahead and wrap back and hit between these letters to just kind of tie them down a little more so they'll be less floppy. And then we'll put the other letters on the bottom. And I will show you how I'm going to incorporate elastic cord, because I know you guys are waiting anxiously to hear that one, right? Or see that one. Let's see. This I'm going to have to be a little more careful on because I have to go between the bugle beads, but it works. So it's one thing to remember, if you have floppy beads, just doing some wire wrapping around can help minimize that floppiness. My beads are kind of spread out here, but like I said, I can always fill that in later, so you guys don't have to see me doing the same thing over and over and over again. All right, now let's get these last three letters so that we can do the bottom letters. Now I also could have put some spacers like the like my little fish beads that I have out here between the words to help space them out a little, but I think we've I just got to pop up. It looks like Soft Flex is getting ready for their sale. Not offended if you guys need to go shopping, but I'm not shopping today because I just paid an invoice. So. Okay, thanks, Janelda. Enjoy your class. All right, now we just gotta put our other letters on, and then, like I said, we can add to it if I may add to it before I post my picture, but we'll see. All right, yeah. I'm going to clamp this one down. Just make sure it's tight on there. Looks like I'm going to have to wrap those a little bit more. All right, so here's our next word. Make sure if some of these letter beads do have to go a certain direction, others are changeable. And then I'm going to wrap a little bit here before I put that last word on there. Yeah, I think this is going to be one of those I'm going to finish stuff after. But we will get the main parts done here. So you guys see what I'm doing. I'm going to tie this down and then we'll wrap back. Hopefully I cut enough wire. You know, the hardest thing with wire wrapping is not to get your wire too twisted. When you're working with little thin, long wire, it happens. And I'm trying to tie this down so that we can it doesn't flop around. I think it's going to take a lot more wire than I have on here currently, though. Thanks for hanging in there with me. All right. I think if I filled the rest of the stuff in like I was planning, that'll help. All right. All right, well, we have our kind of grass or bamboo. Like I said, I think I'll fill the rest of that in and then I can probably tie these down more. And then we have our sign that the tiki bar is open. And how I was going to incorporate this elastic cord. I'm using this elasticity because it's nice and thick. And it's not clear. So I'm just going to cut some off here. And what I'm going to do is use that as my hanger because I, didn't want to figure out how to really incorporate elastic things. Although I did consider using elastic to dangle the beads. Hopefully that. So there we go. We have, I might have to, yeah, it's gonna stay down there, but there we go. We've got our elastic cord. So let me move this out of the way. So I think I'm going to go ahead and finish filling in the back there, but you saw the most of it. We've got our tiki theme. We've got our seed beads. We have our memory wire, and we have our elastic, and we have at least 7 components because, like I said, each of those letters by themselves could be a different component, but even if you take the letters, the seed beads, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 components with each different type of thing. All right, so I think we hit all our requirements. So I will finish filling in the back, and then I will post my finished project. So all I'm going to do is put some more vertical rows in there, and maybe just a little extra wire wrapping around the edges. Who knows, you might find a fish or something in there. But anyways, we've got our tiki bar themed ornament. So let me flip this around. I hate not finishing projects, but I also don't want you guys to have to sit here through me doing the same thing over and over and over. So you saw the bulk of it. You saw the techniques. That's what we're going for. So thanks again for joining me. If you haven't already, please follow Desert Cat Creations on Facebook and Instagram, and please subscribe to us on YouTube. We are slowly gaining on YouTube. I am posting these videos out there. If you're watching this on YouTube and you're interested in ordering the cards, you can comment on there, or there's a messaging thing that comment, or I believe the email, it'll allow you to email me, and then we can work on working that out to get you some cards. I will be back on Sunday at 12 o'clock Pacific time, our normal time, and we are gonna pull in our new cards. So I'm really excited about getting some Southwest themed things into our card decks. Now I'm probably gonna, I haven't decided if I want to do like a project just with those cards and then fold them in, or if I want to just fold them in. So we'll see, because it's going to be, I still have a fair amount of cards left, so it's going to be an interesting mix of things for a while. So as always, I appreciate your support, and I hope you guys have a great week and take some time to be creative. If you haven't already, please join our Bead Stash Challengers group. We'd love to see what you're making, and we're a very supportive group. We would, if you don't have cards but still want to play along, again, you are welcome to use any of the drawings that are posted out there. Just tell us whose drawing you're using for your project, and we're happy to do that. We do have a monthly giveaway, so we have a week and a half left to post in our Bead Stash Challengers group to get in on the drawing for our giveaway. The giveaways change from month to month. Last month I gave away, $5 off your next order, which, considering none of my things are more expensive than $12 or $15, $16. And some of my kits are $20, but still $5 off is significant on those smaller items, and it pays for most of your shipping if you want to look at it that way. So we will be back on Sunday, and like I said, I don't think we're quite into June next week, but we might be. Our first Sunday or Thursday in June, we will draw for our giveaway. So get those things posted. I hope to see you all soon and have a safe weekend. We'll see you on Sunday. Where am I on Instagram? It's Desert Cat Creations on Instagram as well. If you look at the cards that I sent you with your order, it's on there. If you have any of those little green cards that were on the top of any of those bags, it's on the back actually. So, but it's also in the Facebook profile, I think. So, if you search for Desert Cat Creations, you should be able to find me. All right, thanks again. We will see you on Sunday. Bye.